again, even technology, which usually is kind of the go-to as far as people that are really not doing much. We're kind of stuck in this value area. So that's my 2 cents on the rest of the market. Again, the 30-minute chart bounced off the support, really not doing much. This is a tough area to trade. It's just really tough. And as a commentator, you just want to see a little bit more. Building a little bit of a ledge here, maybe. Yeah, so again, value areas, trying to push down. Let's see how, again, this is where you know, it's interesting. You've got, let me just draw a line. That's kind of where value is so far today on the regular session. Prices go below here. Are they accepted or rejected? Let's, you know, watch this. Here's that high prominent, and I rely on these a lot. So I kind of want to, in a situation like this, you kind of want to be a little bit bearish as prices go below here, and get bullish when it gets above. This is also kind of the point of control. If you extend this down, I don't know if you can see that in here. Let's see if we can get the NASDAQ, what that's doing. Yeah, that NASDAQ took out the lows. I don't know if anybody's trading those. Again, value area relationships. One of the things I talk about a lot is kind of watch this. One of the things with value area, I guess kind of a residual benefit, is it kind of takes a lot of noise out of the market, and kind of watch the value area relationships. And again, this is for those who don't know my market profile that much. Value area represents 69% of trade. That's first standard deviation for remembering back to statistics 101. And again, just continue to pull down a little bit. Same thing. Even though we got overlapping, starting to pull down, starting to get volume in here. Now, does that mean as sellers? And here's the question. This is a 5-minute chart. It represents as prices were going down, buyers came in, demand started to kind of push prices higher. The 7709 is going to be kind of key for the short term. So it's kind of like a little bit of a border between the 7710-ish area. again, we're just kind of hanging in here. We're really not doing much. It's really, and again, going back to the cadence, the cadence of this trade is kind of very quiet. Nasdaq's a little weaker, but that's kind of bouncing back too. Let me go back to 30-minute, and it's a little bit, it's more traditional with market profile as a 30-minute bar chart. We're setting up lower than yesterday, which is bearish. So generally speaking, you're looking for, and again, when this is just the regular hour profile. This is yesterday. We've obviously gapped below yesterday. So you have to stay on a bearish tone until something has changed. Are the prices down here going to be rejected and move back into the value or the range of yesterday? It doesn't look like it at this particular time. So again, watching this on a profile standpoint, looking for a little bit of support or demand. So again, watch the profile, how it's in relationship. Let's just take this. Let's take that out. Let's put a profile in. This is of the S&Ps over the last 2 days. We did it on the NASDAQ. And it's pretty much the same thing. Here's that line that I drawn earlier. And if you make that a big profile the last 2 days, you can kind of see that this value area. Funny how this works. The value and the low, if you put for Tuesday and Wednesday, let me take this out. On Tuesday and Wednesday, make this combined profile. And by making this one profile, you see where the value area is. This is the low of the value area. It really just coincidentally became the resistance area. And this happens quite often. They really don't have an explanation, but this happens time and time and time again. So you kind of watch that. That became resistance. Go back to a little bit thicker. Maybe you can see it better. It's a little clearer to see. But again, these are predictable areas of support and resistance, or demand and supply. And it doesn't look like there's much direction. So as traders, what do you do? This kind of day is setting up as okay. You've got the profile here. Yesterday was a little bit higher. The point of control was a little bit higher. So, had a little bit of a bullish sentiment. Today is a little bit more negative. It's a little bit, so you know what, you watch this, but it doesn't look like there's a lot of continued push on. Now that could change in the next 5 minutes, but there's not a lot of push. We're just kind of trading in here. Watch how this thing works out. And until really something happens, here's just a very good illustration of it. We're down 25 points, but we really haven't moved that much. We've got a pretty tight range, and this is how it's setting up right now. Prices are going back and forth. So again, as traders, as I was alluding to earlier, as a trader, you have to play that. You have to find out what the personality of the market is and trade accordingly. Fairly early, this is going to be setting up as somewhat of a balanced day. So until something is broken on the upside or downside, or some news event happens, you just have to sit here and play that and do the scalping. Going up and going, we've got what, value roughly 10 points. I mean, that's nothing really to sneeze at, but just kind of going back and forth. The same thing, pretty much the same setup here. It's a little bit lower, but it's really not doing much. Going back and forth. What's a Russell? Yeah, Russell's taking out the lows. I don't know if anybody trades the Russells, but you take a look at. Let me switch that. Oops. Same thing is it didn't bounce as much as the S&P yesterday. It's a little bit more overlapping, but we're starting to see some weakness in the Russell, and that's been actually the stronger of the three majors. So we've on the Russell, we got a little bit of buying in here, but you can't. But we're still balanced, right? Yeah, you've got a distribution. You got a little bit of buying in here, but it's at the low of the distribution. Usually you're going to see some sort of demand in this area. The buyers here and the buyers here are pretty much going to hopefully defend their prices and make a little bit of a push. Prices, it takes a lot to push out of a well-established balance area. One of the things I did want to talk about, I want to bring this into is gold. I talked earlier about where's the push, where's the market being treated, where's money being treated the best, and not necessarily today, but I put in a chart and I made a market. Let me break this down and just show you how I did this. You've got a strong distribution down. And, I guess this is for anybody learning market profile. You've got a very strong distribution lower, right? I don't think anybody could disagree. Is it necessarily a balanced area? Prices went down. They found demand here, ran up, pulled down, and kind of held here before they broke any further. So there's a little bit, I don't want to say balance distribution, but time was spent here. So they found some sort of value or balance, put it that way. Then we had a very tight balance area where it was going back and forth. This is a more traditional balance area from the lows to the highs, the lows to the highs, the lows before we broke out. Now you've got this distribution. Okay. So right now, as I mentioned, is price, when traders find value or balance, they kind of gravitate. They're human beings, so they kind of gravitate towards the level of, okay, we've been here before, so this is okay. And right now yesterday was with the announcement of the continued buying or additional buying of the 30-year Treasury by the government. The gold prices took off. We got back into the value area. This is going to be a nice trade for anybody looking a little bit longer term. This may be a really good opportunity for, breaking into prices were in balance. When now prices were rejected, now we're back into balance. Watch this, a break above that 45.80 level, 45.78 level. We may have a rotation back to the other extreme. There was anybody does any Googling on trading of market profile, someone years and years ago put out a statistics that if prices are out of value of the previous day's value and go into previous day's value, there's an 80% chance if it kind of grows in from the low, it will rotate to the other extreme. I kind of ran numbers. My data set was probably not enough to validate it, but the 80% is wrong. I probably did maybe 1,500, 1,000 or 1,500 examples. And the actual numbers are more of almost 80% of going to the point of control. So in this case, breaking into it, you kind of have a point of control out here. So there's probably, I think it was about 78% chance of running here, and it was a high, almost 60% chance of going to the other extreme. So that's what I found out. I don't know if it's interesting to anybody, but you kind of want to take a look at that. Is you manage the trades. You want to manage the trades as they come, and you don't do it with a target of that. You do it with managing the trade as it broke in, a break above, and see if there's any kind of follow through to the upside. But right now, it looks like out of this balance area, prices got into balance, and you could probably even draw it off of the value area, maybe again, this is the value area. Broke into it, gone long a little bit at 4,500. So again, it's an interesting trade on the bullish side. I think there's some opportunity here. You break above below this area. It's a different story, but let's go back to the E-minis. Really not a lot of change, kind of, again, just hanging out. Here's crude, and let me go to a daily, just give you a little context. Again, you do I did a longer term profile, and it's very easy to see. We've kind of been in balance, since this war started. We've up, down, up, down. This is a little bit clearer. We broke down, prices were rejected. Crude's going to be a little bit more volatile. I don't think anybody disagrees with it. Anybody in this case, because it's so headline driven, political speech, just any kind of announcement are throwing prices all over the place. So you kind of throw those aside, and prices are finding, roughly 75 to 102. Here's where prices feel comfortable right now. It's not the headline, it's how the prices react to the headlines. And this is where it is right now. Again, we had our little dip below, and then we went back into it. And looking at it, whoops. if you do the profile prior to this, and again, let me just show you what I did the profile to. If we were here, here's where the profile, here's the value area. And let me just put this box over the value area, just to give you a little bit of a kind of education watch on it. You can just see that anytime prices got above this, pull back below, above, prices were rejected, pretty easy to see. As it went back down, when you put this back into focus, extend that, you can kind of see where prices stall when it gets here before it rotated higher. So again, it's just a little bit of an education of if you want to put combine multiple days to find true distribution. And that's what market profile is. It's about the distribution. The markets, when Pete did this, one of the purposes he was telling us is to eliminate time. Bar charts, when you put a bar chart in, it's kind of falling to the rules of time. 5 minute, 15 minute, whatever chart you're looking at daily, it kind of falls into that, and all the trades are within that. By putting price action into a profile, it changes things. And it changes the way you look at it, the perspective of what the charts look like. So, and again, in this case, we're kind of sideways, and that's what you want as a trader. Is again, you find the personality of the market. It's when you find that, it's easier to trade. You're not fighting the tape. Again, that's crude. Let's go back to the E-minis, 30-minute. Okay, so it's still same, really not changing much. We tested the lows. And again, the cadence of the market, the cadence of the trade, it's really not 5-minute chunky units. Just hanging in there. It's really not doing much. One concern right now is you kind of have a point of control, and one of the things you watch, as I mentioned, prices. What are the markets trying to do? And that's, as a trader, you want to ask is, what are they trying to do? So they try to go, they couldn't do it. They come down, they find some demand, right? So prices are starting to push higher. This point of control, this. Let me keep switching back. Give me a second. Just to highlight the profile, is the profile here. In fact, let me switch that real quick. Okay, maybe this is a little easier to see. The value area. The value area is going to be in red. That's indicating a point of control. And we come down on this bar 5 minutes ago, or 10 minutes ago now, is we tried to rally, and this point of control held. That's somewhat of a caution flag. We couldn't break above it on 5 minutes ago or a few minutes ago, or the previous bar. So watch this, because this acts, if the point of control is acting as resistance in this case, it's a sign of weakness, because the markets were trying to go all the way up. That's what they're trying to do, is they're going from one extreme to the other. They can't. And again, this is a little bit of a cautionary flag that there is weakness, that they couldn't do this. So we've got value area relationship to the previous day is lower. So it's a little bit bearish. This was really the first warning sign that there was going to be some selling, that the market is a little bit weak. And coincidentally, here it goes. Where does it go? Oh, we got some. Do we have any? we really don't have much to go on. I mean, there's a gap here that may at the $765. That's a pretty big move from here. I don't really see much below here. So we, again, we got from the value area, are we prices rejected up here? Now we're going to, this is, I don't want to say this is very negative, but it's starting to show a few signs of crack. You've got, again, prices rejected out of the value area. We've got the value area relationship from the previous day lower. We also have this point of control for that prominent point of control at the 77.22. So these are all little things that they're starting to add up of, selling pressure. Where's the demand? How we manage these trades. Supply has right now, I think I'm showing that supply has the upper hand. Really not showing any demand. That could change. If you are a bull, what you want to see is at least get into, and prices accepted into today's value area, just to see how that's going. But it was kind of coincidence that as I'm showing you that, go to a 5-minute chart. So watch that. We've got a low volume area here showing up today. Okay, let's watch how, if we could get back into, like I said, this 76.98 area, it may change. It may just say, we went down here, we didn't like it, and we found some demand. But I don't think demand's really pushing it right now. And again, the cadence of the trade, kind of slow bouncing. What's the NASDAQ doing? Yeah, kind of hanging around the lows also. But it's a little bit more rotational. There's not that real more prominent point of control. Okay. Gold. Again, just a very tight. Again, gold is a really tight range in here. It's going to be interesting to see how that trades out. Well, that's really odd. If you got gold, or excuse me, crude, they've been that, and the market's been somewhat inverted. As crude sold off, you got the market selling off also. Now here we go. Here's our bounce. Now here we go. So we got it now. Okay. Now we got some volume into this. What the Treasury's doing? There's no profile. This is the yield, so there's no volume on this. So it's, well, we can do it this way. Crude's pulling back. I want to see it's one of the things, and again, this is not necessarily a profile rule. Here's the high on the regular session, roughly there. So how we're pretty much there. Our price is going to be rejected up here. If we start pulling back into yesterday's range, especially breaking the 85.41 level, if we get that area, that's probably going to help the market out a little bit. And again, now we're back into value. We're starting to, prices were rejected. So again, you kind of set this up. Here's the value here. Let me put it this way, too much red. You kind of, price is just rotating back and forth. Looking at a little bit. Well, there's the bounce we were looking for. Nice rally. Yeah, they're pretty much the biggest bar. This is what's TradingView has this thing. It's a relative. I think if I understand this correctly, it's a relative value is relative to the opening bar. Volume was low, and as you can see, it's starting to pick up now, and especially on this rally bar, which is a positive sign. So again, playing around in value right now. Let's see when it gets to the top. And again, that rule of auto value, it's trying to rotate all the way up. Again, we're right in the balance area. That's how the trade has to be. You're down in here, rotate back up. Even though it looked like it was going to start selling, I'd be more happy to short up here than go long down here. Their watch, especially if these lows are broken, we might get some acceleration to the downside. and gold really not doing much. And again, here's crude. Like I said, here's that line. If these highs are rejected, it could be positive. You got to look at other markets other than just if you're trading the ES. Watch other things because it's all entangled. That's a possible short. You can probably get a little bit of support around the 85.20, whatever this 40, 30, 40 area. There may be a little bit of support. Yeah, look at it. It's really not much. Rotational trade. Just go back and forth. Are you still on your call? So yeah, let's just watch the rotational movement of this market. Unless really something breaks one way or another as far as the range goes, it looks like it's going to be just a rotational day. Again, these things change all the time. That's kind of our job, right? But this is, this is what's in season right now. We kind of eat what we hunt, and right now it's just a rotational trade. Watch how this thing progresses, but we have this big area of demand. I shouldn't say big area of demand, but we had the demand at the 76, let's say 76.91 area. Again, if that breaks where where demand loses it, I'd be more happy shorting than I would be going long. Again, because of the relationship of the value area from the previous day, or actually the two previous, the big balance. And again, for anybody who missed it, putting a distribution or putting a profile on those 2 days, we're lower. Really doesn't tell you much. Again, we're lower. I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable with finding opportunities to short up here than going long. But watch this. You got to be really quick and nimble on your feet today. That's what these trades are. They're not longer term trades. That's the advantage. That's what, finding out what the personality of the market is on that particular day and taking advantage of it. NASDAQ, same thing. It's just really not moving at all. Crude, funny how crude just kind of bounced off of yesterday's range, the high. But again, if it breaks below that, maybe a good opportunity on the short side. Really not a lot going on. But this is one of the things with value area, and what Pete really stressed is, erasing the time in getting what the market's distribution is. And right now we've got a very tight, balanced distribution. Take advantage of it. Trying to break above this area, but how much strength do we have that we're going to get above it? It could. I'm not saying that we don't. I'm just saying right now the personality of the market is rotational, and you got to base your trades based off of that. Gold quietly trying to push higher, but if there's anything else, I mean, it's kind of a quiet day. I don't know how much value I could bring to this if there's a break one way or another. But I think I'll call it a day, guys, and hope I brought some value or insight into the market's action from a market profile or auction theory standpoint. But I appreciate it. Again, I hope I brought some value and hopefully get some action one way or another. But just kind of watch all this action. Again, it's trying. You're really not having a lot of energy one way or another, maybe a little bit more on the lower side. But anyway, guys, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Again, I hope I brought some value, and I will catch up with you next week. Thank you.